The impact cracks can be found under SASSE Library Effects Impact. And I'm just going to load up a mesh here so that we have an easier time seeing it. We are going to drag and drop the impact cracks onto the top of the mesh here. And looks like we can't see very much, so we'll raise it up a little bit. It makes it easier to see. Let's see how close we can get it. Actually, we don't need to do that because we just need to shrink wrap the mesh to it. So there we go, close enough for jazz. So we can go to the modifiers tab, the geometry nodes panel, and that will allow us to adjust some of these settings. Curve point count, how many points are on each of these line curves? So how many little separate wrinkles or cracks are we going to have in each of these cracks? The curve mesh resolution, how many points around the point? So this can sometimes thicken or thin the appearance, but I usually keep this pretty low. Curve mesh radius, so how wide is our mesh around, can get pretty hectic pretty quickly. So we'll keep that at, I think it was 0.005. And subdivision level, are we subdividing? So if we don't, then you can see we get much more jagged, kind of sharp geometric cracks. If we do, then they're much smoother, but they have a little more geometry to kind of wiggle around with, so you get a little more play there. So the crack's color, you can change it to whatever you'd like it to be. Could be, blood, could be indicating a crack in some sort of container of something, so you might want to match the liquid color. The shape, we have a seed to give us a random shape every time, because this is a bit of a finicky effect, I find. So sometimes what I do, rather than adjusting every one of these individual things, is I just move through the seeds until I find one that looks how I would like it to look. But if we do want to have that more granular control, the number here is the number of those displaced lines that come out. Stretch outer will determine how far out they stretch. Stretch inner is stretching the inside, I think, away from one another. We've got spin, so if we set this to 0, they all lay on one line, and as we turn that up, you can see it's spreading around in a circle, so just kind of randomizing that effect. Probability 1 and 2 are the probability that we will get small offshoots from these, which might be easier to see if we have a slightly larger radius size. And we also have progress. So between progress, stretch, and dealing with the number that you have, you can get some pretty good effects going. So let's randomize this again, and then we can just increase the number to sort of increase the damage that's being done, or we can go up chunks at a time, or you can animate that progress, or the I think it's stretch inner, sorry. And these can all give you sort of different expanding crack type effects. And, depending on the effect that you're going for, you can see when it gets really extreme, it kind of just starts to break up and fall apart. That's mostly because it doesn't have enough geometry to cling to on the mesh, this particular cube. But it's also something that you want to be aware of, depending on how you want to animate this, what you're using it for. Some settings will work better or will look better for the animation than others.